even though it's fucking destroying the planet. It does not matter. It doesn't matter if we just melt the table. It doesn't matter if we destroy the table. If we're losing the board game, we might as well kill everybody in the process. Anyway, let's just get started. Trump arrives in Greenland
just moments ago in Switzerland. The president now just hours away from addressing a room of European allies amid a bitter standoff over his threats to seize Greenland.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
World leaders have hoped to rein the president in, from French President Emmanuel Macron.
We need more stability in this world, but we do prefer respect to bullies.
To the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, warning of a rupture in the world order.
The middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu.
America's allies have tried just about everything to get the president to back off. Several European nations sending troops to Greenland. French President Macron inviting Trump to Paris to meet, texting the president, "I do not understand what you are doing on Greenland." But the president says there's no turning back.
We need it for national security and even world security. It's very important.
The president threatening 8 key NATO allies with tariffs if they do not back his plan. The move sending the markets tumbling. European leaders furious.
In politics, as in business, a deal is a deal. And when friends shake hands, it must mean something.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent with this warning to allies.
Sit back. Take a deep breath. Do not retaliate. Do not retaliate.
And even as Greenland has made it clear it is not for sale, the president insisting a deal can be made, despite a century-old agreement that acknowledges Denmark's control of the island.
I think that we will work something out where NATO is going to be very happy and where we're going to be very happy.
It's not clear what deal the president would be looking to make. Denmark and Greenland say they are not interested in making any sort of deal with the president. And this morning, tensions are only escalating. We are just learning moments ago that France wants to do a NATO military exercise now in Greenland, saying they are ready to contribute, Michael.
All right, Rachel, we know either they're in Davos, and we know you're going to bring everything that happens to.
Stocks are rallying already after Trump's pose. Dude, it's all fake. It's the fakest it's ever been. It'll never. What the I can't even. Damn it, dude. I can't even go on Twitter. It's not even loading websites, bro. Holy shit. My internet is so ass. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And to address so many respected business leaders, so many.
Anyway, we got Donald Trump speaking at Davos. I'm losing it, dude. I'm losing it. Okay. It's not even Twitter. It's actually because of it's because of my internet. Torturing and killing unarmed protesters, many children, and cutting off internet is not because of sanctions. While the things you say about sanctions are true when you mostly talk about it, and not the brutality of the Islamic Republic towards its own citizens, end up justifying the Islamic Republic's actions as brutality, tortures. Yeah, totally. That's always what I'm saying. I'm always defending torture as a mechanism of repression. Thank you. Thank you for deriving what you. Thank you for understanding exactly what my point was. I hate this argument, man. Just shut the fuck up. Just stop with this like bad faith criticism, please. Oh my God. Oh my God. You guys are such delusional little babies. Like, no, you want black and white thinking. You want no fucking nuance whatsoever. You don't want America's intervention to be even remotely mentioned here. Okay. Even if America itself flexes its intervention as a major success, even when America and Americans, when the Treasury Secretary, who was responsible for all of the sanctions, is sitting there and being like, our sanctions have actually played an incredible role in destabilizing Iran. You sit there and you go, no, you shouldn't even mention it. When you talk about the sanctions, it makes me feel like you're defending the Islamic Republic. There's never been a point where I've defended the mass suppression, the repression, or the way that they put down protests in the country. Okay? It's so childish. It's so childish. Donald Trump doesn't even care about American citizens. What makes you think he cares about Iranians? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? There's never been a moment where these guys have even entertained the notion of saving people, okay? You are arguing for a world that does not exist. It's pure fantasy. You want it to be that way. It frustrates me to no end. Both can be true. Sanctions are bad, but IRA is brutal too. I know, but that's what I'm saying. So why are you bringing this up when I'm talking about at least one aspect of it? What do you want me to do? Yeah, I was in a good mood. And then my internet kept cutting out for like 15 different occasions. So now I'm no longer in a good mood.
Friends, few enemies, and all of the distinguished guests. It's a who's who, I will say that. I've come to this year's World Economic Forum with truly phenomenal news from America. Yesterday marked the one-year anniversary of my inauguration, and today, after 12 months back in the White House, our economy is booming, growth is exploding, productivity is surging, investment is soaring, incomes are rising, inflation has been defeated, our previously open and dangerous
What is this audio,
border
bro?
is closed and virtually impenetrable. And the United States is in the midst of the fastest and most dramatic economic turnaround in our country's history. Under the Biden administration, America was plagued by the nightmare of stagflation, meaning low growth, and high inflation, a recipe for misery, failure, and decline. But now, after just 1 year of my policies, we are witnessing the exact opposite.
Yeah, totally. America's really popping, dude. The more you say that, the more people believe it, for sure. Just keep repeating it over and over again. If you keep repeating this lie, then people will believe it eventually, right? Here, I'll make it faster.
Virtually.
Wait, better audio?
See very shortly. Our country has never seen before, perhaps no country has ever seen before. Over the past 3 months, core inflation has been just 1.6%. Meanwhile, fourth quarter growth is projected to be 5.4%, far greater than anybody other than myself and a few others had predicted. Since the election.
Yeah. It's great, though. That actually distributes evenly to the average American. Average Americans, according to Howard Butlick, that means every American's pockets are going to grow by 4.5% or 5.4%. Sorry. Whatever the number he's presenting here. That's how it works. Yeah, the GDP, when the GDP goes up, when GDP growth is 5.4%, that means every American made 5.4% more money. That's how it works. Duh.
Election, the stock market has set 52 all-time high records. So that's in 1 year, 52 records, adding $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, 401ks, and people's savings. People are doing very well. They're very happy with me. Since my inauguration, we've lifted more than 1.2 million people off of food stamps, and after 4 years in which Biden secured less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country. Think of that, $1 trillion, substantially less than that. In 4 years, we've secured commitments for a record-breaking $18 trillion, and we think when the final numbers come out, they'll be closer to $20 trillion of investment. That's never been done by any country at any time, not even close. Just over 1 year ago, under the radical left Democrats, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, the United States economy is on pace to grow at double the rate that was projected by the IMF just last April. And with my growth and tariff policies.
Yeah, when he talks about people no longer receiving food stamps, just know that that's a rhetorical trick that Republicans love utilizing. They make it harder to access food stamps. They'll kick like hundreds of thousands of people off food stamps, and they'll celebrate it like they got, they got wealthier. That's not the case. Unironically, they got poorer, as a matter of fact, because now this social safety net that they were relying on to feed themselves and their children, they no longer have access to. And then they'll turn around and act as though this is a cause for celebration. Yeah, you didn't lift people off of food stamps, you threw them off. Exactly. We lifted more than 1.2 million Americans off food stamps in 1 year. I'm not saying you want to justify our actions, but the impact of only focusing on sanctions is that. Please stop with your hyperfixation, okay? I have offered a multifaceted analysis on numerous occasions on the Islamic Republic and its own mechanisms of repression that have obviously caused tremendous discontent among the public. I am obviously still going to maintain the position that sanctions play a major role. Sanctions play a major role, and it is self-admitted by the Treasury Secretary in the process of talking about how sanctions, not just on the Islamic Republic, but like everywhere, on all of our foreign adversaries, sanctions play a major role in destabilizing the economy of our foreign adversaries is established fact, okay? It's established fact, and it's being admitted right now by the Treasury Secretary, and you're over here yelling at me because I'm covering that aspect of it, okay? I'm not going to literally consistently try to couch it in terms that will make you feel a lot better about yourself or about what kind of analysis you're reading into, when I'm not even talking about just Iran. I'm talking about the way that sanctions work in general, okay? Unless you are a sanctions apologist who does believe that starving the Iranian population or starving the Venezuelan population until they scream bloody murder and assassinate their leadership is the most appropriate liberal interventionist mechanism going forward, shut the up, okay? We can have an isolated conversation about sanctions without having to discuss the brutality of the regimes that we are offering sanctions to, because by your very same logic, what you're doing in this circumstance is simply saying, no, don't talk about the sanctions. The sanctions is not the reason why this regime is brutal, that the sanctions play no role in the way that these people live their lives, okay? Two can play that game as well. You are engaging in apologia for sanctions all around the world that lead to, according to the latest Lancet study, an estimated 500,000 deaths a year just on sanctions alone, okay? Sanctions are a tool of economic warfare, and many people who have correctly pointed this out for years and years have been called tankies, campists, wrong, and this has caused a lot of liberals to basically lean into sanctions as this mechanism of economic warfare without having to feel like they're actually pulling the trigger or playing a role on it. I'm done. I'm done having this conversation. Okay, I'm done. Please stop.
It should be much higher. I really believe we can be much higher than that. And this is all great news, and it's great for all nations. The USA is the economic engine on the planet. And when America booms, the entire world booms. It's been the history. When it goes bad, it goes bad. You all follow us down, and you follow us up. And we're at a point that I don't believe we've ever been. I never thought we could do it this quickly. My biggest surprise is I thought it would take more than a year, maybe like a year and 1 month. But it's happened very quickly. This afternoon, I want to discuss how we have achieved this economic miracle, how we intend to raise living standards for our citizens to levels never seen before, and perhaps how you too and the places where you come from can do much better by following what we're doing, because certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back.
Yeah, he goes into all of this like sloppiness, like, oh, Europe is not recognizable anymore because there's so many black and brown people in like European streets. Like, Europe was far better decades ago. And there is some truth to that. But the irony, of course, is that it's far worse now than it was maybe a couple decades ago due to austerity, due to becoming more and more Americanized. But of course, this is a conversation you can't have with neoliberals, especially, that have dominated European politics for, since the 90s. Whether you are talking about conservative neoliberals and conservative parties, or even, the supposed left flank neoliberals that have also brought about the same level of crippling austerity measures to their own countries, destroying the social safety nets and significantly reducing the quality of life in many of these European nation states. That is the real issue here. It's not because there's more brown people. Nobody would give a fuck if there's more brown people or more black people in whichever European country that they're living in, if the public transit structure still exists in the same ways that it did. It's like fast, it's efficient, and you can get on a bus and that you can get to wherever you need to go at a reasonable rate for a reasonable price. You wouldn't worry about like what is changing actually. What is changing in my country if you could go to your doctor and get the same healthcare coverage that you got in the past, that your electricity bills were not sky high, okay? If the cost of rent wasn't going up year over year and becoming unmanageable. So the exact same problems that exist in the United States of America exist in Europe as well. Europe made the refugees by fucking up their countries, forcing them to move. No, ironically enough, Europe played a secondary role in fucking up those countries, okay? If we're going to be real here, if you're talking about Muslim refugees, the reason why there are a lot of Muslim refugees that came from Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, numerous other countries is because of U.S. intervention in the region, which Europe played a role in as well. But Europe played a secondary role, a junior partner in the coalition, okay? But of course, the global war on terror did not impact America in the same way that it did Europe, because America is far removed from the violence that it dishes out all around the globe. Oh, no, I'm talking about Africa too. Yeah, I mean, Europe plays a role in that as well, obviously, or historically has played a role in that. But I think most of the people that are mad, they dish out the white supremacist styles of racism towards everyone, like the previous colonial subjects as well. But what they're actually frustrated by is like the new wave of refugees and new wave of migrants that have come in, which have predominantly come in from the MENA region. But yes, you're not wrong about that as well. That's the old version of racism. This new meta is like leaning into that for sure. This new meta is leaning into that for sure, but it's using the wave of refugees that are coming in from the MENA region in general to make this larger argument. But ultimately, it would not matter. It would not matter at all. It wouldn't matter at all if there were waves of migrants coming into the country if there were better integration programs for every single person, and they weren't like immediately being ghettoized without factoring in like what these people could do once they come into the country. Denmark is actually one of the more vicious countries when it comes to ghettoizing Muslim migrants. They literally have ghetto structures, like straight up. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Like, they have built-in segregation in Denmark. Anyway, these are some of the darker aspects of European social democracy that a lot of people don't realize. What is this? Open Presence is funding Hassan. Who are they? A call for transparency. Open Presence, identify or bust. Who is funding Hassan? Like, it's Open Presence. That person is giving so many subs. It's a lie. There is no transparency. Yes, Open Presence is sponsoring the broadcast, and not you, the viewers. Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. If you would like to sponsor the Piker Broadcasting Service, PBS, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $6 a month or for free with a Twitch Prime. That's right. Open Presence happens to be one of the Oilers. We don't know where he's from or she's from or they are from. Is it, though? Sus. But it's normal on the... Well, there you go. Say to it, run. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. We remember when Open Presence used to subsidize that L3 podcast. Wait, really? Was that a Oiler for H3H3? You take that much money without knowing? I don't think you understand how this stuff works, my friend. If I have no connection to who Open Presence is, if I have no back and forth with them, you do. I do. You do understand? Okay. If there is no expectation from me in any way, shape, or form, and they comprise a tiny fraction of the much larger subscription base, shouldn't you know there is, though? Yes, I remember watching Amy and Lena watching a clip of you, and they got super surprised when they saw Open Presence donating to you. Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know anything about Open Presence, and I choose not to know anything about Open Presence. There's now also a closed presence as well as a joke to Open Presence. You should find out. No, I'm not interested at all in finding out, especially because we chat, that's it. I'm not even on Discord. That is sketchy. yeah, it would be sketchy if Open Presence was demanding I do certain kinds of commentary. Also, you are delusional if you think Open Presence is the only person that is sponsoring this broadcast. You moron. I have 52,000 subscribers. You can see how many of those 52,000 subscribers is Open Presence. Do you think he's sponsoring the show in its entirety? Are you lol? I know there aren't. I have been in here long enough, but I think we deserve to know. You don't deserve anything. You deserve a ban. That's what you deserve. Also, why isn't my bands working right now? We deserve to know. You're just rage baiting so you can get a fucking clip off, dude. I don't give a shit what someone's background is unless they're personally trying to do an ad for something. Lol, I am a GTRP Oiler. I regret it, but I've given 5K, 8K to multiple communities. I'm just a dude. Yeah. Bro thinks Open Presence is tenant media. Yeah, why the fuck would I why the fuck would I go after anyone that's like donating gifted subs to other people that want to have a subscription? At least that was an original derail. Gotta hand it to him. It is an original derail for sure. I just want to know how they get their money. They donate like $3,000 a day. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that's the case. Violet IEP, thank you for the 100 gifted subs. I don't know what it is, but I suspect it could be from a currency exchange rate country where there's regional pricing. So you only lose by engaging with this. It's true. We joke and we say he's a Qatari oiler sponsored by the nation of Qatar. A lot of chatters that are big boosters, big donors like that, oftentimes come from places where they have different currency. The best part is after you dig into the identity of some donator, a smooth brain rage baiter would absolutely clip it with Hassan doxing and investigating random chatters, etc., etc. Exactly. In any case, let's continue. Yeah, I like to think in my mind that he is the glorious nation of Qatar, donating that to me. Thank you, and please continue. All right, let's keep going. I can't believe this is what we're talking about, dude. Donald Trump is literally ripping apart the liberal international rule-based order and openly telling that European states are actually vassalized. And there are chatters in here being like, I'm Chinese, I am Antifa. I'm going to need to do a reveal, but that's later. Before then, stream soon. Okay.
I want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe.
I'm deeply disturbed to find out that you profit in any way from your work. Hold the fuck on. You mean to tell me you make money off this really disgusting behavior for real? I know. It was really up. It's totally inappropriate.
And I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction. In recent decades, it became conventional wisdom in Washington and European capitals that the only way to grow a modern Western economy was through ever-increasing government spending, unchecked mass migration, and endless foreign imports. The consensus was that so-called dirty jobs and heavy industry should be sent elsewhere, that affordable energy should be replaced by the Green New Scam, and that countries could be propped up by importing new and entirely different populations from faraway lands. This was the path that sleepy Joe Biden administration and many other Western governments very foolishly followed, turning their backs on everything that makes nations rich and powerful and strong. And there's so much potential in so many nations. The result was record budget and trade deficits and a growing sovereign deficit driven by the largest wave of mass migration in human history. We've never seen anything like it. Quite frankly, many parts of our world are being destroyed before our very eyes, and the leaders don't even understand what's happening. And the ones that do understand aren't doing anything about it. Virtually all of the so-called experts predicted my plans to end this failed model would trigger a global recession and runaway inflation. But we have proven them wrong. It's actually just the opposite. In 1 year, our agenda has produced a transformation like America has not seen in over 100 years. Instead of closing down energy plants, we're opening them up. Instead of building ineffective, money-losing windmills, we're taking them down and not approving any.
Yeah, so I've briefly touched on this before, but like the anti-climate change propaganda is actually anti-China propaganda. Many things that America does should be read in that same line of thought. Like, I know we're joking, we're saying Don Quixote, but like it's actually more nefarious than that. China obviously is the global manufacturing hub for many things, including batteries and renewable energy grid. the things that are necessary for renewable energies all around the world, from windmills to batteries to solar panels, all this stuff. And they're also on top of that, obviously manufacturing electric vehicles as well. And Howard Butlick basically said this openly yesterday, where it's like, why would we use Chinese style EVs? Like, you're so stupid. We're an oil nation. And yeah, Adam Tooze's face is pretty funny in reaction to this, by the way. Like the other panelist, when he's complaining about it, is hilarious, where once again, oil is a finite resource, okay? It's going to inevitably run out. And not only is it a finite resource, but it's also destroying the planet in the process of burning fossil fuels, right? And America, instead of using all of its brain power, all of its might, all of its money in the appropriate direction to create a more robust infrastructure for renewables. Oh my God, did I F again? I'm going to lose my mind. America, instead of America being an important player in the new frontier of energy, America's basically decided we can't do anything about it. China is dominating. China won the next. China is winning the next phase in energy. So we're just going to dial in, and we are going to be we're going to continue being the dominant force and the petrodollar dominant force in the old guard, in the old ways of in the old energy. All right, Donald Trump is live on CNBC.
About Greenland. So I was going to ask you, did you see any of your European cohorts nodding? But I guess I don't have to ask that now because of the news that it breaks very quickly. Can you go into what you just talked about with the NATO meeting?
Well, we have a concept of a deal. I think it's going to be a very good deal for the United States, also for them. And we're going to work together on something having to do with the Arctic as a whole, but also Greenland. And it has to do with the security, great security, strong security, and other things.
The market, 600 points, getting back a lot of some of the nervousness we had in the last couple of days. The tariffs are off. Nothing happens on February 1st.
No, we took that off because it looks like we have pretty much a concept of a deal.
A deal of ownership, a deal...
Well, it's a little bit complex, but we'll explain it down
like
the line. But the Secretary General of NATO and I and some other people were talking, and it's a kind of a deal that I wanted to be able to make.
Where does Denmark, did they weigh in on what they want, what they would agree to?
Well, I assume they did because he very much represents, he's a strong leader. Mark, you know Mark Rutte. And he, I assume he's been speaking to them. He's been speaking to all of them.
Are mineral rights involved? Is ownership involved? Did the Golden Dome sway people?
I don't want to say yet, but...
The Golden Dome was very compelling today when you talked about that.
Yeah, the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in mineral rights, and so are we.
It's not specific enough to know at this point how long this lasts, whether it's...
Forever.
Forever.
It'll be forever.
For Greenland at this point. Yeah. That's staggering.
That's better than a 99-year.
This is what, 2 hours after.
It's better than the Obama deal with the famous Iran nuclear deal with a 9-year deal. No, this is forever. This is a long term.
I mentioned that you could have come over here and just talked about what you wanted to. Before you left, I think you wanted to talk about where the progress that you've made in terms domestically with the economy and everything else in the United States. And you didn't have to talk, I didn't think you had to talk about
I've decided we're lowering the sanctions on Iran in exchange for denuclearization, which is very different than what Obama did, because he was a black man and I am a white man doing the exact same deal. So it's very different. It's good when I do it. It's bad when he did it. He's Muslim. He's not even American, and he's a communist.
Fighting with
NATO.
Fighting with,
you've done so much to try to strengthen NATO. I'm sure you don't want to see the dissolution of something you work.
I'm proud of NATO from the standpoint. Look, I brought them up from 2% to 5% of GDP. They're paying a lot of money. They pay us a lot of money because they buy missiles and they buy a lot of things. unfortunately, Obama gave him $350 billion for Ukraine, which was just terrible. I mean, the whole thing was terrible. It should have never happened. That's a war that should have never happened. But they paid a lot of money, and I don't know if you know, but I signed a rare earth deal with Ukraine to probably get most of that back, maybe more back than we haven't. But what they did, they were just giving out money like cookies to a child.
I know how much you've done today, so I'm going to bounce from thing to thing. When we talked about geopolitical concerns today, we also mentioned Iran, and I made the point that I never thought that Greenland, that geopolitical events would include an actual shooting war. Iran's a different case. It could be tariffs, which you've already announced for Iran. Could be further action than what we've already seen in Iran. Most people think that you probably prevented the loss of I don't know how many lives for some of the protesters.
Thousands, more than that.
Was that the end of the story, though?
Well, they had one thing specifically that really got me. They were going to hang the old-fashioned hanging. They were going to hang 837 people on Thursday. And I told them, you can't do that.
The old-fashioned way.
It's going to be bad. I don't want to go exactly what I said, but nasty. They canceled it, hopefully permanently.
But those tariffs are still on, including China. Has China responded to
sanctions?
25% for anyone who does business with Iran, and that will go forward.
Yeah, that's going forward.
That will go forward. There are assets moving into the Gulf, obviously, carriers and other things. So a lot of people are wondering whether that's a prelude to further action.
Well, we hope there's not going to be further action, but, they're shooting people indiscriminately in the streets. And they were going to look, this was a big thing for me, they were going to hang 837, mostly young people.
When you did successfully hit Fordo, you got a lot of grief from the Democrats for doing it. Now, the grief is, you promised to do something in Iran. Now they want you to do, or they're at least finger pointing, say, you said you were going to help the protesters, and now you're not. So you can't win.
Well, we had, of course, again, I mean, if I came up with the cure to cancer, they'd say, why didn't you do it faster?
If you walked on water, you can't swim.
Yeah, they're sick people. They really are. They are, we call it Trump derangement syndrome.
Should we stay tuned in Iran? I guess that's my question.
I guess. I mean, look, it's a rough place. It's a place that we hit very hard with the ending the nuclear. They would have had a nuclear weapon long ago. It's actually already turned. They would have had a nuclear weapon probably a month after we hit, had we not hit. And we hit them hard, the B-2 bombers. We just ordered 25 additional B-2 bombers. They were unbelievable. Those things they were totally undetectable. They were undetected. And think of it, with no moon, in the dark of night.
Is it normal to breathe this hard just from standing up?
Every single one of those bombs hit its targets and just obliterated the place. So we're going to find out where they are now about what they're going to do with nuclear. They can't do the nuclear. The one thing I've been strong on, they can't do the nuclear. Now, this attack that we did at the time,
fucking so sweaty and so out of breath
recently, which was equally
doing something good, that's like, and he looks like he's ready to be tipped over.
If they do it,
doing something that most people do every day, like it's a normal part of the process. You just stand up and you speak, and it seems hard.
At some point, they're going to get the idea that they can't do that. They're just not going to be able to do that. Can't let them have it.
Something else that we might find out in the near future is the replacement for Jay Powell.
It's true.
I just saw the Mr. Hassett, who I have a pretty good relationship with. And you're right.
He's fantastic.
He comes on.
I like actually keeping him where he is. To want to know the truth. I don't want to listen. He's so good on television.
On CNBC would be a great time to give us more.
So good on
Are we down to 2 now? Are we down to? I heard Rick Reeder had a strong.
Yeah, I'd say we're down to 3, but we're down to 2, and I probably can tell you we're down to maybe 1 in my mind. But
did Rick Reeder impress you in recent?
Very impressive. Yeah, he's been there
because for a while the betting markets had Warsh in the lead.
Well, Rick is very good. They're all good. All 3 are good. All 3 would be, I think, good. We have a problem with the man that's there now. He's too late. He's always too late, except when it comes to politics for the other side, where he was actually too early.
Another one, a person I know you have a great deal of admiration for, is your Treasury Secretary.
Yeah.
He made the point that...
By the way, he only wants to stay where he is. That's one thing.
But
he's fantastic, but Scott only wants to stay where he is.
His point, as a real estate guy, some people say you always want lower rates, but Scott made the point that if you have productivity gains, whether it's from AI or whether it's from Big Beautiful Bill, whatever it is, that you need a Fed chairman that can't get too agitated about a hot GDP number. In other words, we might be at a point where we could run nominal GDP of 8% or, after inflation of 5.5%. But that doesn't mean that it's inflationary and that you need to raise rates. So have you considered someone that could be like a Greenspan in the 90s?
Well, that's what I want. I mean, right now, if you announce great numbers, the stock market goes down because they say, oh, they're going to raise the rate, they're going to kill it, which really stops you from having any great runs, and we want to have a great run. So we're going to be at 5.5 or something. They're predicting. I don't know. It's much higher than they thought. But let's say we're at 5.5. We could be at 10, or we could be at 12. We could be at 15. But immediately when they announce good numbers, now in the old days, you're too young.
Trump is also recognizing that it's fake, and he's basically just saying it's fake. Why don't you fake it in my direction? Why don't you fake it in a way that makes my buddies even more money? Just it's fake anyway.
Now the stock market crashes every time you have good numbers because they think everyone's going to raise rates.
Yeah.
Growth
Stop raising the rates, lower them so that we can have 50% GDP growth.
So look, we've had tremendous growth and we have almost no inflation.
Good. Meanwhile, regular people are they can't afford a home, they can't even pay for rent.
Tremendous growth.
Do you at this point have plans for what you would do?
What you consider hyperinflation, I call more money, bigger money, bigger number. It's better.
And what if he decides to stay on the Fed? He doesn't need to leave.
Think about what it would do in terms of GDP growth if an avocado cost $54. You gotta buy the avocado. Someone's gonna buy it.
His life won't be very, very happy, I don't think, by doing it. I think he wants to get out. He has not done a good job. He's done a horrible job on buildings. He took.
It's fine. You know how stupid my followers are. They don't even care. They can't purchase things. I tell them everything's going great. The market's doing fine, and they go, "Yes, Mr. President."
Almost $4 billion.
Yeah. Average age of new hire 42. Average age of new homeowner 59. This is a good economy. Also, the largest part of the workforce now is just Zoomers and millennials, and none of them can get a job. I saw a tweet the other day that was like, I don't know how difficult it is to explain this to someone over the age of 40, but looking for jobs, like putting your resume out there to get a new job, is just the most worthless endeavor that you can engage in. And I think people don't understand it. Like, it's just over. Like the old school ways, the old school method, what millennials used to yell at boomers on, a stern handshake and making eye contact was enough for you to get a job where you would make the current equivalent of $300,000 a year and have a single income family. It's gone, right? And now for the Zoomers and the millennials, it's gotten even worse than that, where the whole just go and apply to 1 million jobs method does not work at all. You are not going to find a job. It's impossible.
Probably could prevent someone from being voted on.
But because the people that are running the economy and the people that are running the country are they're 858 years old, they will never understand this. The reality that they grew up in does not exist anymore. And it has only gotten worse. They're so old that they're like, I don't understand. Oh, you must be if you can't find a job. Like, what do you mean? Back in my day, you would do a stern handshake and stare them right in the eyes, and you'd get a job and you could own a home. Stop paying for avocado toast and you'll be able to own a home.
And a meeting of the minds. That's something that wasn't on my my plate.
No, she was very happy with this phone call. I'll tell you. Now look,
you won't be having a lot of policy discussions with her, other than.
But credit card companies are getting 28%, 30%. These people don't know they're paying that.
Right. Is it a 1 year?
1 year cap of 10%, and I love it. I know it's sort of like. It sounds like the mayor of New York maybe came up with that, but people are paying. They can't make it. They can't pay 28. Whatever happened to usury, they can't pay 28%. And so I said 1 year. I'd like to see a 1 year cap of 10% with the credit card companies, and they'd understand that. I've had calls from credit card companies, people that are friends of mine actually, And I treat them good. I respect them greatly, but they make a lot of money. They got to give the people a break. 28% interest. You know, people go out and they buy something, and if they're a little bit late, they're paying 28%. They end up filing for bankruptcy. So I would like to see that happen, yeah.
So there's, I guess, we're getting toward the end, but there's classic conservatism, there's populism, and I guess there's common sense. Is that how you would describe some of the steps that you made? I mean, there's people that call it statism, or that we're getting too involved with managing the private sector.
I'm conservative, but I think I'm common sense. You know, it's like people say, "Are you a conservative?" I say, "Yeah, but I'm a common sense person. I mean, I do things that aren't necessarily that conservative sometimes."
Yeah.
And
like when you want to invade Greenland, it's a real common sense position when 80% of the country says don't do that.
Thing. Open borders for everyone so that everybody's prisoners can pour in, where they come in from the Congo, where they come in from all over the world, from Venezuela. And by the way, we picked up 50 million barrels of oil the other day from Venezuela. We're going to sell it at the market price. We're going to give some to Venezuela. We're going to keep some.
They already have, by the way. The Venezuelan leadership under Delcy Rodriguez said that they received their first $300 million dollar check from the American oil sales. They do not know where it's $500 million worth of oil. America took it, they seized it, and they're, I guess, quote unquote, selling it. I don't know where. And they only gave Venezuela $300 million of the $500 million that they stole. And nobody knows where the remaining $200 million is, by the way. That's the way that we're operating now. It's pure piracy.
It's also aimed at common sense again, but
it's pure piracy. We just stole that oil.
You have these big companies, these big corporations buying up thousands of homes and renting them or doing whatever they do with them. Some of them are flipping them for a big profit.
I'm going to go pick up some money from the bank.
Too many.
Go buy some gold then with that money, because that paper might be worthless.
But we're saying that we don't want that. We want people to be able to buy a home.
Been a long day for you, I know, and energetic, more energetic than I am right now. Thank you for the time.
You're doing just fine.
Thank you for the time, Mr.
Thank
President.
You,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, that the President of the United States, of course, and our very own Joe Kernan.
Wow, what a productive conversation. Trump just lied about everything once again, and there was very little pushback on this, down to like when he says the economy is doing so well. But of course, it's CNBC, so he's speaking to the right audience when he says, well, the markets are hot. The markets are hot. Look at that. We course corrected in the markets. Believe it. Okay, I said I was going to dominate Greenland. I said I was going to take over Greenland with the military. Then I said I'm not going to do that no more. And then the markets are hot, hot, hot. Is this Fox News? No, it's CNBC. Is it lying if you don't know the truth? No, CNBC knows the truth. What do you mean? Everybody knows the truth. When Donald Trump says we're getting $1 trillion, we're getting $15 gorillion in foreign investment coming into the country, and they're opening up factories, you can look around and recognize that that is not happening, okay? But none of it matters, because the entire stock market, which is the only thing that these animals care about on CNBC, it revolves around pure speculation and confidence that Donald Trump won't actually use the nuclear option and destroy global trade in its entirety, as he has threatened to do so over and over again, multiple times a year in the last year of his second term. So he just keeps going, I'm going to break it. I'm going to molest the money. I'm going to molest the money. And then everybody goes, no, sir, please don't molest the money. Then he turns around and says, I'm not molesting the money as much as I was going to. Isn't that wonderful? And the market goes, oh, thank God. Thank God he's not molesting the money as hard. Yeah, oh my God, it's a bull market, baby. Let's go. Perma growth. None of it is anchored around like actual fundamentals. It's all speculative. It's all nonsensical. It's all Tesla stock. The stock market is all Tesla stock, okay? Money is faker than it has ever been before. Obviously, it's been fake for quite a while, but finance capital is so fake, dude. It is just nothing. It's unicorns and fairy dust. Everything is Tesla. When Donald Trump said it's all computer, everything is Tesla, everybody transgender, he was right. It's not in the way that he was using it, okay? Everything is Tesla. I mean, look at look at NVIDIA. Okay? Look at NVIDIA. Look at OpenAI. The major reasons as to why the stock market is up. The GDP is growing. Why is it growing? Because they're exchanging the same like $100 billion over and over again. It's just exchanging hands. Everything NVIDIA. Yeah, little f. I know. I'm effing again. I hate myself. I hate my internet. I hate my life. Why could this? It's just awesome. It's awesome. I love it, dude. It's great. You know, it's not on a permanent F. We're back. We've just disconnected, joined a connection again. It's great. All right. Let's see what he is saying. There's no framework on a future deal on Greenland.
Ownership of Greenland, like you've said you wanted.
It's a long-term deal. It's the ultimate long-term deal. And I think it puts everybody in a really good position, especially as it pertains to security and minerals and everything else.
Have you already spoken? How long is it, Mr. President?
What?
Have you already spoken to other European leaders?
Yes, I have.
How long would the deal be, Mr. President?
Infinite. There is no time limit. It's forever.
And how would you ratify the deal?
There'll be money involved.
But you haven't signed anything yet, right?
It's a deal that's forever.
Will there be an effect anyway, Mr. President? Will there be an effect?
People, what happens is people are out there and they're working it right now. They're working the details of the deal, but it's what's called an infinite deal. It's forever.
You talked about being concerned, Mr. President, about Russia trying to come and take over Greenland. If you're worried that Putin would do something like that, why invite him to join your board of peace?
Because we want everybody. We want all nations. We want all nations where people have control, people have power. That way we're never going to have a problem. This is the greatest board ever assembled. And everybody wants to be on it. But, yeah, I have some controversial people on it, but these are people that get the job done. These are people that have tremendous influence. And if I put all babies on the board, there wouldn't be very much. So he was invited. He's accepted. Many people have accepted. I don't know of anybody that hasn't accepted. But it's going to be great. I think the Board of Peace will be the most prestigious board ever, and it's going to get a lot of work done that the United Nations should have done. And we'll work with the United Nations, but the Board of Peace is going to be special. We're going to have peace. It started off with Gaza, the Middle East. We've got peace in the Middle East, tremendous peace in the Middle East. Nobody thought that was possible. And that happened by taking out the Iran nuclear threat. Without that, it could have never happened. But the board is going to be, I think, really fantastic. And I think it'll be the most prestigious board of any board ever in world history. Thank you very much.
Tremendous. Bro's making the Andrew Tate War Room. The slave prime minister of Pakistan also joined the board. Yeah, and so did Benjamin Netanyahu. If you want to understand how stupid this board of peace is, he's just basically re-engineering the United Nations, but this time with even more control, I guess. And you can buy into it, and it's a crock of. It is totally nonsensical. It is totally ridiculous. The UN already doesn't have any power. And I guess even Donald Trump wants to build another version of that. That's even, I guess, another version of that is even more captive to American interests. It's awesome.
Instead of empowering bureaucrats, we're firing them, and they're going out and getting jobs in the private sector for 2 and 3 times what they were making in government. So they started off hating me when we fired them, and now they love me. Instead of raising taxes on domestic producers, we're lowering them and raising tariffs on foreign nations to pay for the damage that they've caused. In 12 months, we have removed over 270,000 bureaucrats from the federal payrolls, the largest single-year reduction in government employment since the end of World War II. Nobody thought that was coming, but we had no choice. To make a country great, you can't have all federal jobs. We've cut federal spending by $100 billion and slashed the federal budget deficit by 27% in the single year. It's going to go down quite a bit more from that, driving inflation way down from the record highs of the Biden administration. Every month, they went up and up and up. I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every single new regulation, but instead I've cut, actually, till this point, 129 regulations for every one new regulation approved. So every time they come in with a new regulation, we do at least 10, but so far it's averaging out to 100.
Yeah, I've sped him up because it's an hour and 32 minutes and he's yapping. He's yapping like a okay.
129, if you can believe it. In July, we passed the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. We also provided 100% expensing. That's the one they like. And bonus depreciation for all new equipment and capital investments to help companies expand and shift production to America. They are so in love with that. They build a plant, they're able to deduct it immediately, the whole thing, rather than waiting 38 to 41 years in the old days. This is a miracle taking place. Nobody thought it would ever be done by any country, but it's done by us. It was what made my first term the most successful 4-year term that we've ever had from a financial standpoint. And now we've upped it. This is a 10-year program, not a 1-year program, but you're allowed to deduct everything in 1 year. It used to be 38 to 41 years. With tariffs, we've radically reduced our ballooning trade deficit, which was the largest in world history. We were losing more than $1 trillion every single year, and it was just wasted. It was going to waste. But in 1 year, I slashed our monthly trade deficit by a staggering 77%, and all of this with no inflation, something everyone said could not be done. There were a couple of brilliant people that actually thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing. Now they all think I'm doing the right thing because they can't believe the numbers. American exports are now up by more than $150 billion. Domestic steel production is up by 300,000 tons a month, and it's doubling over the next 4 months. It's doubling and tripling, and we have steel plants being built all over the country. Nobody thought they'd see that. Factory construction is up by 41%, and that number is really going to skyrocket right now because that's during a process that they're putting in to get their approvals, and we've given very, very quick, fast approvals. In the process, we've made historic trade deals with partners covering 40% of all U.S. trade. Some of the greatest companies and countries in the world. We have countries as our partner, too. The European nations, Japan, South Korea. They're our partners. They've gone into massive deals with us, especially on oil and gas. And these agreements raise growth and cause stock markets to boom, not only in the U.S., but virtually every country that came to make a deal because, as you've learned, when the United States goes up, you follow. It's really become a staple. In America, I've stopped the nation-wrecking energy policies that drive up prices while sending jobs and factories to the world's worst polluters. They are indeed polluters. Under sleepy Joe Biden, new domestic oil and gas leases fell by 95%. Think of that. And they wonder, why was gasoline going up so fast? The gasoline actually topped $5 a gallon, in some places $7 a gallon, and more than 100 major power plants were violently shut down by incompetent people that had no idea what the hell they were doing. Under my leadership, U.S. natural gas production is at an all-time high by far. U.S. oil production is up by 730,000 barrels a day, and last week we picked up 50 million barrels from Venezuela alone. Venezuela has been an amazing place for so many years, but then they went bad with their policies. 20 years ago, it was a great country, and now it's got problems, but we're helping them. And
Hassan, that's what your mom said, Shatter. And I did. She me. It was awesome. You're getting DDoS by the inshitification of America, our infrastructure and electronic devices. No, I don't know if it's an ISP problem. I think it's probably an issue on my end. It's a port connectivity problem because I keep getting notified from my router over and over again that like a port keeps disconnecting and then reconnecting in restoring. Now that could be because the ISP is just like not giving enough juice to my internet, or it could be internally like a hardware issue because we did reset the router last night after the stream. What is this? That's what it is. You didn't want data centers built. This is what happens when you don't have data centers. Yeah. What? Try changing ports. It could be leaked. Wait, what?
those 50 million barrels, we're going to be splitting up with them, and they'll be making more money than they've made in a long time. Venezuela is going to do fantastically well. We appreciate all of the cooperation we've been giving. We've been giving great cooperation. Once the attack ended, and they said,
you probably have UPnP turned on, which lets applications open ports and suck up bandwidth. Ask HND later to go into your and disable UPnP. I mean, this is a new issue. So I don't know.
Deal.
I'll put it in the mod chat.
But Venezuela is going to make more money in the next 6 months than they've made in the last 20 years. Every major oil company is coming in with us. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing to see. The leadership of the country has been very good. They've been very, very smart. The price of gasoline is now below $2.50 a gallon in many states, $2.30 a gallon in most states. Then we'll soon be averaging less than $2 a gallon. In many places, it's already down even lower, $1.95 a gallon. Numerous states are at $1.99, numbers that nobody has heard for years. Actually, since my last administration, we got it down to around those numbers. I've signed an order directing and approval of many new nuclear reactors. We're going heavy into nuclear. I was not a big fan because I didn't like the risk, the danger, but they have the progress they've made with nuclear is unbelievable, and the safety progress they've made is incredible. We're very much into the world of nuclear energy, and we can have it now at good prices and very, very safe. And we're leading the world in AI by a lot. We're leading China by a lot. I think President Xi respects what we've done, in part because I've allowed these big companies building these massive buildings to build their own electric capacity. They're building their own power plants, which when added up is more than any country anywhere in the world is doing. I read recently an article in the Wall Street Journal that China's creating so much energy, and they are. I got to hand it to them. But we're creating as much or more, and we're letting them do that. I'm very proud of it. It was my idea. I said, you can't create this much energy. We needed more than double the energy currently in the country just to take care of the AI plants. And I said, we can't do that. We have an old grid system. And I came up with the idea, you know, you people are brilliant. You have a lot of money. Let's see what you can do. You can build your own electric generating plants. And they looked at me. They didn't believe me. All of the names that are, I think, in the room right now, if you want to know the truth, they didn't believe it. And I said, no, you can't. They came back 2 weeks and they didn't have the plant. They said, we thought you were kidding. I said, no, not only am I not kidding, you're going to have your approvals within 2 weeks. I always say nuclear will take 3 weeks. But most aren't going that. They're going oil and gas. They're even going coal in some cases. Because of my landslide election victory, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse which befell every European nation that pursued the Green New Scam, perhaps the greatest hoax in history. The Green New Scam, windmills all over the place.
The reason why he just keeps hitting the renewable energy thing is because China is dominating the rare earth mineral procurement extraction. They have a monopoly on it. Okay, they have a monopoly on the production of rare earth minerals, which are necessary materials for all matter of technology, but certainly on renewable energy, on the renewable energy battery technology. China is obviously dominating on the R&D side. China is dominating on the manufacturing side. It's not just like wind turbines. It's not necessarily just wind turbines that he's like fucking complaining about. It's everything, right? Wind turbines, solar panels, virtually, hey, what's going on, man? Virtually every single thing that that is a necessity, China dominates on. And that's precisely the reason why America's decided no more of this like woke and gay green. We're just going full tilt back into, we're redoubling our efforts in on the side of the fossil fuel industry, even though it's destroying the planet. It does not matter. It doesn't matter if we just melt the table. It doesn't matter if we destroy the table. If we're losing the board game, we might as well kill everybody in the process rather than look forward, rather than try to improve mankind, rather than try to improve our carbon footprint, rather than try to focus on the new method of energy, even though we have all of the power. Kaya, get back over there. Instead of everything is so fucked up right now. I'm all over the place. Ugh. Instead of trying to focus on competing with China and trying to build a robust manufacturing base or even cooperating with China, we are deciding to fight back by focusing entirely on oil and gas. Okay, that's it.
Destroy your land. Destroy your land. Every time that goes around, you lose $1,000. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. Here in Europe, we've seen the fate that the radical left tried to impose on America. They tried very hard. Germany now generates 22% less electricity than it did in 2017. And it's not the current chancellor's fault. He's solving the problem. He's going to do a great job. But what they did before he got there, I guess that's why he got there. And electricity prices are 64% higher. The United Kingdom produces just 1/3 of the total energy from all sources that it did in 1999. Think of that, 1/3. And they're sitting on top of the North Sea, one of the greatest reserves anywhere in the world, but they don't use it. And that's one reason why their energy has reached catastrophically low levels with equally high prices. High prices, very low levels. Think of that, 1/3. And you're sitting on top of the North Sea. And they like to say, well, you know, that's depleted. It's not depleted. It's got 500 years. They haven't even found the oil. The North Sea is incredible. They don't let anybody drill. Environmentally, they don't let them drill. They make it impossible for the oil companies to go. They take 92% of the revenues. So the oil companies say, we can't do it. They came to see me. Is there anything you can do? I want Europe to do great. I want UK to do great. They're sitting on one of the greatest energy sources in the world, and they don't use it. In fact, their electricity prices have soared 139%. There are windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place, and they are losers One thing I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that?
So this is obviously completely incorrect. This might come as a surprise to chatters, but he's once again talking out of his ass. Not only is China the leader in manufacturing renewable energy products, but it's also the leader around the globe in renewable energy infrastructure inside of China. Not only do they have a ton of wind turbines, not windmills, right? But they're also experimenting with new ways of developing wind turbines, like this new Zeppelin thing. I don't know if you guys saw this. What is this? How China won the new nuclear energy race? Brother, we're not going to watch a 19-minute video about how China has won the new nuclear energy race. I know you've been trying to get me to watch this over and over and over again for like the past month or so since it came out. It's completely ridiculous. Photos capture the breathtaking scale of China's wind and solar build out. This is a major wind farm, but it's not just windmills either. It's not just wind turbines either. They're also experimenting with new technology. Here's another article. There it is. China's building 2/3 of the world's wind and solar projects. Country on track to reach 1,200 gigawatts of installed wind and solar capacity by end of 2024, 6 years ahead of Beijing's. Almost 2/3 of global wind and solar projects under construction are in China. Solar and wind power projects under construction by gigawatts. Okay? So yeah, they are massively ahead. And not only that, but they're now doing this insane thing that I saw that's like, that literally feels like it just feels like something out of Cyberpunk. World's most powerful flying wind turbine launched in Western China. This is a gigantic gliding power bank that could help communities cut off from the grid during blackouts and cement China's leading role in green energy. I don't know how safe this is. When I see Zeppelins, I get fearful, but that is what they are doing. The world's first megawatt class high altitude wind power system for urban use, the S2000 SAWES, has successfully completed a test flight in Yibin, southwest China's Sichuan province on January 5th. After a 30-minute ascent to 2,000 meters, it generated 385 kilowatt hours of electricity and completed grid-connected power generation. 1 hour of operation can generate enough electricity to fully... What are you doing? You want to go outside? Hold on. You don't mind dogs, right? No. Don't let her out. No. She's... I think she wants to know what they're doing on the router back there. Anyway, here it is. This is what it looks like. It's fucking insane, okay? 1 hour operation can generate enough electricity to fully charge approximately 30 top-spec electric vehicles from zero. It's meant to be rapidly deployed to natural disasters to restore areas' basic power. Yeah. When I look at this stuff, I understand how people must have felt when, you know, I understand how the horse, buggy, and carriage industry must have felt when, like, cars were being mass produced, right? The assembly line kicks in, there's cars, it's becoming increasingly cheaper or more affordable to own a car. And while that is happening, this new frontier is unfolding in front of your eyes, you're still maintaining the old guard where you're like, no, you don't understand. This is a profitable industry. Horses are much better. Horses are much better than cars, dude. You're so... Don't move into the car stuff. What do you mean an automobile? It's a dangerous thing. It's scary. It's weird. Horses are much less likely to trample you to death. It's just a fad. It'll go away. Let's just focus on horses. And it's interesting because, like, we are connected to one another more than ever before with the internet, and yet we still have this kind of mentality. And I don't understand it. Like, there's no excuse for it, you know? There is no excuse for it because we know exactly what it looks like. We know that it's better. And in the age of the internet, when you see this kind of idiotic sentiment being expressed by world leaders that are effectively telling everyone, you know, shut the fuck up, close your eyes, plug your ears, don't listen to reason, don't look over there, just focus on what we have right now over and over again. It just, you know, it's very, very frustrating. And yet the market doesn't react in the way that it's supposed to because there is no rhyme or reason for how the market operates. Here is Howard Butlick saying the quiet part out loud once again.
It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flag.
I didn't even realize he had such a major lisp, by the way.
Pole in the middle. But
from licking Trump's butt. so hard. His tongue can't even produce the S sounds any longer.
In fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries. Why would you do that? Why would the United States of America, which has oil and natural gas, try to convert to all electricity? China does not have oil and natural gas, electricity and electric.
Oh, he was saying WEF, World Economic Forum. I thought he was saying the West.
Cars make perfect sense to them. That is practical and logical.
Yeah, that's it. It's not a lisp. He's saying the WEF, as in the World Economic Forum. I've never heard someone say the WEF. Yeah, but look at Davos. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they're deciding to be subservient to China. Now, it's really funny to see like the reaction from the panelists, just looking at him with tremendous dismay, looking at him horrified, disgusted. And the irony here, of course, is they're saying you should be servile to us, not China. Okay? And it goes back to the same principle that I've been talking about over and over again. America literally keeps repeating, it's either my way or the highway. We're not going to manufacture products that you want. We are going to create a protection racket like NATO, and we're going to sell you all these weapons, and we're going to demand that you take an increasingly larger percentage of your GDP and refund it. Take an increasingly larger percentage of your GDP and purchase more of our weapons. Right? You can do with those weapons whatever you want. You can give it to Ukraine if you want. You can use it personally if you want. But like you're going to take our weapons, because that's one of the only industries that we have in the country. Another industry that we have in the country is the automotive industry, right? We make automobiles. But the problem is we're not making automobiles for the European market. We're not making automobiles for any other country other than the United States of America. And in the United States of America, we're making those cars ginormous. We're making those vehicles as large as we physically possibly can make them. We're making them gas guzzlers. And these are cars that are so large, both by engine size, both by, just like size-wise, they're just too big for the European roads, that like Europeans can't even purchase these cars and use them on their streets. And it doesn't matter. We're forcing that on you. If Donald Trump's major goal here is to fix the trade deficit, right, and improve the American automobile manufacturing, there's two ways out of it. You can either make cost-effective, competitive products that people actually want to purchase in the same way that China has done, or you are by force purchasing these vehicles. I don't give a shit what you do with the fleets. I don't give a shit if you actually sell it on your roads or not. You just need to buy it from us, right? So that's it. That's what we're doing here with the energy situation as well. We keep telling Europe over and over again, no, you don't understand. Do not move in the renewable sector, because every move that you make, every initiative that you take that is focusing on renewables, improving your electricity grid, trying to make sure that your electricity grid is powered by renewable energies is actually beneficial to China. You must keep petrodollar on top, even if it's killing you, even if it's killing the planet. It doesn't matter. That is woke and gay. Do not actually move towards renewables. What is this? There is no replacement for displacement. Davos building evacuated. Well, I don't know where that. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm actually going to have my guest here in a brief moment. And we're gonna be talking to his MAGA parents from the Necessary Conversation Pod, and we'll be doing that for the next hour, and then I'll be going back to Davos. And as a matter of fact, I'll be asking his MAGA parents about Davos as well. How do you feel about base tanky Macron? None of those guys are based, nor are they real tankies. They're just saying the quiet part out loud, but they're not going to do shit about it, as evidenced by the fact that Donald Trump turned around and said, "Oh, I fixed it," and now everyone is saying, "Yeah, it's fixed." Oh my God! I just saw the way that this is standing on this podium. Oh my God! This angle is not very favorable. This angle is not good at all for him, it seems.